right, so yes, you found out we're not doing a naked yoga class after all. uh, but I would like to still do a naked yoga, but it's not going to be the physically naked yoga. It's going to be the emotionally naked yoga. Ha ha ha. Ha. How great is that? So, I'd like to think of emotionally naked as vulnerability. And if you've studied any of Brene Brown's books about braving the arena, um, that vulnerability and shame is where we connect the most with people. So I'd like to dedicate that class of being the fool, foolishly being vulnerable. So being naked in our emotions, and then how we may feel foolish about that. And since this is also April Fool's Day, that will tie in nicely. Um, and so with that, I would like to comfortably come into a child's pose, and I'm going to make a little bit of a pillow for myself here, so, or a bolster of sorts. Block wrapped in a blanket, perfect. And turning your head to one side, just going to tune into, dare I say, the inner fool. So starting just a little inventory of self, how we may have felt fooled or acted foolish or emotionally foolish in some ways. It creeps up for myself in ways unexpectedly. So, but I think being the fool is a natural part of being human. So breathe into your foolish mind, lovingly forgiving any foolishness that you might be or have displayed lately. Breathe out a sigh of relief. We can learn from our foolish ways. Allow an emotional vulnerability. That's better. Breathe down into the hips, that curve of the spine. Nestle the knees a little wider. Drop in more and more into the breathing. Just let whatever you've been ruminating about through the day, like a boat, we're going to untie and let it float away for just this moment. We can moor it later. Turning your head to the other side now. This be the final minute. Breathing in, letting go and breathing out. Breathing in, letting go. Breathing in, settling in
to this body, to this next hour, letting go of any expectations or sense of wanting to rush through it. Allow yourself this time, this very valuable time with yourself, self-love. Wouldn't want to be foolish to not love, to not apply this time with your body, with your mind. Maybe you do need that forgiveness. Maybe you were acting foolish today or yesterday. Maybe it still is very potent in your life to be foolish. I can relate. So we're going to start to come up out of the child's pose. And we're going to take a deep lunge. So if you need to take your blanket under your knee or double up your mat, you're going to want to do that under the left knee and take your right foot forward into that lunge. And we're going to go way forward to the top of the mat so that the knee and the ankle might be stacked, but at least the knee is before the foot. We don't want it in front of the toes. You should be able to see the toes. And it's just a runner's lunge, a deep lunge. It is a dragon or gecko's pose. If you go even lower, you can get into gecko. So gecko, you get on your elbows. We're going to lift our dragon tail after a little while, and I'll show you what that is. But right here, we begin to undulate in a pathway discovery, melting a little bit. Anchor the big toe. We don't want the arch of the foot to, or the front, to lift off of the mat. So keep that front foot plastered. And we're going to melt. Now, the dragon lifting its tail requires that you move forward onto that kneecap. So I don't want anybody to injure any kneecaps here. So what you're going to do is roll forward on the kneecap, which will allow you to lift up that back foot. Keep lifting the foot up as you reach back. That's catching your tail, but we want to be mindful of the kneecap, that it's been cleared forward. Otherwise, staying low, depends on the yogi, you may want to stay low here. This can also be done with the help of a wall. So you would have this foot against a straight wall, and if you know what that would look like, you can transition to the wall. And we're going to do a little rotation. Look behind you. You can melt even more into your dragon tail here. So you want to come back down off of, down low before letting go of the tail. And we're going to send the hips back for a half Hanumanasana. In other words, a half split, folding forward, toes here, pointing straight up to the ceiling. And we want a nice open and lengthen, straight-ish. I say ish. Some people's knees do not straighten, and that's okay. It's fine. If you're someone who could hyperextend, then you're going to place a block to support that knee not going too far, because we're going to fold all the way forward here, toes up to the ceiling. And because this is also a fool's class, we're going to work out some of our foolhardy parts of our body. But also it's going to be a balancing. So our first balancing is to hold on to your foot here while you're in Hanumanasana. Now, some yogis are just going to stay right here with one hand, and then you can switch and take the other hand. So full balance is to have both hands on that foot here. Yeah, so be fun. Now, if you had your foot down here, you can tuck your toes in the back and get a little bit more stability of the body, but enjoy and have fun with that. And let's take it, to switch to the other side now, as we bring the left forward. Let's have the block handy. All the way to the top of the mat, hands down. You can go down the elbows for more of a gecko. Gecko goes all the way down. Let's undulate here.
I'm breathing and melting. Moving forward on that kneecap before then bending, reaching back and drawing that right foot in. So right foot, right hand. So same foot, same hand. Keep drawing that knee in. So you may feel the desire to roll forward. If your kneecap starts to move, you're going to go back down to your hands. A little twisting, looking behind you, melting forward. So all the way down before then releasing the tail and shifting the hips back, toes up to the ceiling, straight leg, folding over. Half Hanumanasana, Ardha Hanumanasana. Inhale, lengthen that spine, folding over. We get that balance pose. So maybe start with the toes behind you pointing down. Top of the foot is down. One hand to the left foot, switching balance. Other hand to the left foot, hugging in, little stabilizer muscles as you bring both hands to the left foot. Enjoy all that weeble wobbling that might be going on or falling. That's okay too. Body is observing and taking note to learn better to do on the next time. So, and final exhale here. We'll start to slide that foot back into alignment. I always like to do some cat-cows, so getting your toes tucked, press into the arches, spread your fingers wide, and put more of your weight in your pincher fingers. So that's the thumb and the index finger. We're going to drop the sternum between the shoulders so the shoulder blades can hug back behind as you lift your neck and compress the cervical spine in the back. Tilting that tail up. Reverse all of that. Tuck your tail all the way under. Look at your belly button. Pull your belly button in and push into your hands and push into the arch of your feet. So we're really going slow. Drop the sternum, tilt the tail, lifting. Exhale, pull the heart up, pull the belly button up. Really big exhales. And on a last time. Sorry if that's loud. Coming back to center and tucking the toes. We're going to find balance on our heels. So go to whatever level, stay near a wall, and we'll start with some of our balance poses right here. So let's press right up, straight up into standing. We'll make some adjustments to our camera. Okay. All right, so here we go into our first balance pose, which is eagle pose. So eagle arms have a elbow under elbow, and then we're going to take a little bit of a bend in the knees and cross the right knee over the left knee. I need some different colored pants for this so you can see what my legs are doing. Basically wrapping the joints all the way around from wrist down to ankle. And place your eyes on the dristi point. Just unmove it and then take your internal eye. It's like shifting your awareness in the body and go searching for areas that can be pulled together, cinched to the center. Everything is in. Go checking through the face that anything that's not being tense does not need to be tense for this. Last 30 seconds here. I know. Yep. And we're gonna let that bird fly. Woohoo! All right, so balancing out, we'll take the left elbow under the right, or just switch your elbows, switching the legs as well. Drishti engaged, everything's hugging center. We settle in. Starting to move in, last 15 seconds here. Good minute of each side. And then we'll let the bird fly. Taking a little moment to balance that out. Standing with feet wide, pushing into the arches of the feet. So arches of the feet lifting just slightly as you're slightly pigeon-toed. Open up the chest by interlacing the hands behind you. There we go. So we're going all the way over, forward fold, vulnerability right here. Soften the knees so you're not locked out. If you need to fall, your legs are not locked, and arms are going to come up and overhead here as far as possible. Some yogis will have open shoulders, so you can start to bring the palms of the hands together. And opening. Nod the head a few times, yes and no. Final 30 seconds. Just let gravity take you. Pressing now the knees straighter. Now that we've established a sense of balance, forward fold, vulnerability. Oh, there's a boat going by, so I don't know that we've had a boat go by before during class. We're going to come all the way up to standing, one last back bend. So Bayou Portage runs right along the back out of the house. For those interested, you could kayak on over. Okay, another balancing pose. So adding to our vulnerability versus foolishness, and it's our traditional tree pose. So a couple choices for you. Know it, go into your tree, but if you've not known it before, you can make a little kickstand. Do it there at the ankle bone. You can go to the bone below the knee, so your shin bone there, or above the knee. Do not place your foot on the knee. It's a joint. It's not stable. And so you don't want to be pushing and forcing into something that is meant to be wobbly in the first place. Put it against the bone. Hands is going to have some different movements. So just wherever you are is perfect. Drishti is enacted. Let's switch the arms. So goddess arms is an option. You're just opening out like you have two platters on your hands, or you're the Libra, balancing out left and right here. Branches of the tree going up. So just allow yourself to move freely, whatever your ankles or feet or balance is about. These things can be practiced over time. Arms behind your back, interlaced, and lift. You can play with different areas, the ankle and the knee pulling up. Pull up on your pelvic floor a little more. Try pulling in the belly button, see what that does. And some of these things will throw you off. But then eventually you find that you can recruit them in. We're going to come back to center. And just take a little balance, check in, left and right. Feel the difference between the ankles. So I call this the rebound. So take the rebound right here in the side that was really working for stability and the other that was having a different. So those will switch now. So spread the toes, lifting the arch of the foot, finding your favorite tree pose, finding your favorite drishti point of concentration, and then starting your arms in your favorite arm pose to begin, then let go of any expectation or judgment. Just be here now. The tree is going to open to the goddess. Going from goddess to tree branches. And bringing the arms behind the back. Hands coming back into prayer. And releasing from there. So there's probably about a minute on each side. We'll take the rebound. Just observe what you're sensing. Without shaking anything off just yet, observe, take in information in the moment. So, another inversion to balance that out. One of two things, either puppy dog pose or downward dog. And some of you may start in downward dog and move to puppy dog. So let me move right into puppy dog pose or melting heart. Anahatasana. Anahatasana. That's a tongue twister. Anahatasana. Hatasana or atasana is Sanskrit for heart. I'm not saying that right though. It'll come to me. Anahata. See? It was all there. You're going to fold forward, turn your head to one side as if you're in a down dog, but you're on your knees. Opening up the shoulders. So from here, simply lift, tuck the toes, lift your knees, and melt your heart. Downward dog for as long as you like, and then move into melting heart. So it will be a few minutes. Downward dog people, you want to rotate and open up the thighs, but most of all, tilt your tail up and lengthen your spine. Don't worry if you have to bend your knees. What you don't want to do is round and bend your spine. So tilt your pelvis up, melt your chest towards your thighs, lift your armpits, press into the index finger and thumb, the pinching fingers, not so much the wrist. Rotate it in and forward in that direction, and plug your shoulders into your back. From here in long spine, if you can sort the legs back straight, fine. If not, that's not where it's most important. So we have another minute here, and I'm going to transition now into my last minute and into the puppy dog pose. So and my puppy dog people, let's pull in our pelvic floor. So that's the mula bandha or the root. Pull your root up into your body. Suction the belly into the chest. So we're going to start to come out and slowly just slither right onto your belly here. So, right at Sphinx level. And we're actually going to do more of a Cobra series. So, the first Cobra series is a little bit, some of this is Pilates like. So, if you have some Pilates background, you'll know what's going on here, but you certainly don't need to. You're going to take your forehead to the mat, bring your hands interlaced behind the little small of your neck. And so these little lifts, straighten your legs out, relax, ground your big toe, ground your thighs, press down on the tops of your feet, just so that you can feel that your legs are going to counterbalance where you're going. So you're going to lift just the shoulders, just to about your bra line, the upper back muscles where we're targeting, or the upper thoracic. So just lifting up and then down. As soon as you start to feel anything in the low back muscles relax there, we really want to isolate it for the upper back. So it might mean you're not coming up very high. So we're going to do 6 of these. Inhale as you rise. Exhale, going down. Last 2. And it is small movement, so it doesn't mean you're lifting so far up. Again, we don't want to be in the middle to low back. We want to stay in the upper back area. And then relax, turn your head to one side. We're going to hike one of those knees up alongside the body, doesn't matter which one. Breathe diaphragmatically here. Five more breaths. Breathe low into your belly button. Push. Feel your belly push against the floor. Melt that inner thigh. Push the belly button. Feel it melt back. Last time. Sliding that leg back. We're ready for the next portion of the Cobra Locust type series. This time the hands are going to be right at the shoulders on the either side, and glue your elbows in, chin forward here. Legs are again going to be pushing that big toe down, and you're simply going to press into the hands, and now we come up Cobra here and exhale to come down. So feel where your elbows, they should be touching the rib cage, and as you touch them, I want you to squeeze your rib cage and feel as if your elbows are squeezing you up and then lowering back down. So feel that your biceps are engaged here. Squeeze in and then using like your biceps squeezing you so much to come up and exhaling down. Let's do 3 more just like that. Hugging in the rib cage. Hugging in and drawing, gliding the shoulder blades down the back. Last one right here. And lower, we take another break. Turn your head to the other side, hiking the opposite knee up. And diaphragmatic breaths here again, belly button. Oh, and my favorite, reverse scarecrow arms. These are great. So elbows up, hands down. Last 3 breaths right here. Pushing the belly button. And now we come back into our Cobra series. Continuing now, the hands, fingertips are going to slide back just a little bit more from where you were, hugging the elbows in. We're going to lift the hands before lifting the body. So we're going to be unassisted by the hands. Go up as far as you feel you're able to. Place the hands down, squeeze the elbows in, and come up a little higher. Now, Release the hands and lower all the way down. So we do that again. Hands lift, upper body lifts, hands down, upper body lifts a little more. Release the hands, balance, and lower all the way down. Hands lift, body, hands down, body lifts. Release hands and hold. Exhale all the way down. We're going to do two more of those. Lift hands, upper body, hands down, upper body. Lift and lower down. Last one right here. Hands, upper body, hands down, lift. Hands back, elbows still hugging in, and all the way down. So we're going into child's pose to have a lot of that spine lifting and muscles come back to neutral. So the variation that we're going to do is to kick our leg out. So you can start with either of the legs, and I'm going to go sideways on my mat. You might want to as well. Right leg is going to go all the way out into just a side stretch. You can sit back on the heel. You can also be on your knee for this. And you can also, if it's better, to sit up and stay seated in some way. That might be a little more intense, but might feel good. Breathing and releasing any tension. So incidentally, if you've ever done tarot cards, the Fool is the 0. And the Fool is pictured playing the flute, dressed like a jester, like a fool. The funny pants and tights and pointy shoes, followed by his little doggy. And he's basically not watching where he's going, and he's about to go over a cliff. And so that's the Fool. The Fool is not watching where they're going. They're not paying attention. They are, in some ways, really dumb, not seeing potential, but also foolish enough to take chances. Let's draw that leg back in, switch over to the other side. Now for some yogis, you'll want to flex your foot. For some yogis, you'll be able to point the toe. Just kind of depends where your knee, if you're hyperextending. You'll want to support the knee by flexing the foot or putting a block underneath your knee. So yes, the Fool is someone who can be taking chances or not paying attention where they're going, taking foolish chances. But either way, foolishness is the 0. It's the beginning of all adventures. Beginning of adventure starts with foolishness. Someone who foolishly wants to write a novel and is not seeing the amount of work involved, but yet starts these types of projects. And yet you become wise after becoming a fool. We're about a minute and 15, so 45 seconds left here. And start to bring that leg back in as you lift up here. Yeah, some very vulnerable poses we got going on here to celebrate our foolish ways that we humans can be. So this next one is called pigeon shoulders, or shoulder pigeon. And I am going to show you, we're going to do the right arm on top of the left arm. So starting with the left arm threading to the right, let's come on to the belly. That's the first thing. Left arm will thread to the right, and then the right arm threads to the left. You will need a block or something to hold your head on. I forgot about that. You definitely want the block nearby. And start to wiggle those arms together and then resting on top of those arms. So settle in here for pigeon arms. Probably also known as straight jacket. I think it is known as straight jacket pose. So we can be foolish in our straight jackets here. Although I think there is a fine line between foolishness and genius. Crazy and genius. Keep melting a little more. I like the block here to hold the head so we're not jamming anything into the throat. And breathe right between the shoulder blades back there, encouraging even deeper stretching and letting go right here. Last 3 breaths. And exhale, unwind here. And we'll just simply take the arms outside, pressing up. A couple of figure 8s in the shoulders. And we'll reverse now. It's going to be the right arm that threads to the left first, and then the left that threads to the right on top. Having the block support and breathing into your straight jacket, my foolish yogis. So some may think that being emotionally vulnerable or even physically vulnerable is a foolish move, and yet it is the vulnerability of ourselves that connect in. We can connect deeper with those we wish to connect with when we're vulnerable and share our vulnerabilities with others. So Brené Brown, she has another really wonderful book, Celebrating Your Imperfections. Celebrating Your Imperfections? No, it's well, it's been a while. Brené Brown. She also has a wonderful couple of TED Talks where she talks about her books and her research, because she's a scientist, a researcher. Final 30 seconds, so let's say the last 3 long, deep breaths here. Braving the Wilderness is her other book. Brené Brown. Starting to unwind And then we can take it out and again do a couple of our snaky type arms here. Release and coming up. And I'd like to do a little bit for the neck. If you'd like to sit on the tops of your feet or even have your um, toes tucked for a portion of it, groovy. I do have a suggestion for those of you that are okay with your knees um, sliding to sit on a block. And this is supported heroes pose. So Thunderbolt would be sitting right on top of the feet. Heroes, we slide the feet just ever so slightly out from under the knees, which this is somewhat of a slight rotation in the knee joint, which is why it's not always done. Now you can remove the block and go all the way down for true Virkasana or hero's pose. I find that quite intense on the knees, so we'll just err on the side of loveliness with the block. And taking the chin into the chest, let's let the cervical spine settle in. And we're going to do a little bit of our Qigong neck, starting with the crane and then actually starting with the tortoise or the turtle. So hang on just a moment there. If you'd like to add some weight from your shoulders, by all means, you can do that by wrapping the hands behind the back of the head. Last 3 breaths. And then the turtle, start to scoop your head down. The turtle pops its head out of the shell and then continuing up. So this is not the turtle. This is the dipping of the beak. I got him backwards. Okay, so we're doing the drinking bird first. The bird goes down and dips its beak, drinks the water. You can do the drink the water sound if you like. So the chin forward, the neck up and back. So you'll be swallowing, chin in. Inhale. A little faster here. Drawing in. 3 more rounds here. Last time. Dipping the beak, drink the water. And now we go from chin up, forward. Here's the turtle coming out of its shell. And then we're going to draw back into the shell. So you draw your chin in, and then lift the chin up, and you're going to come forward. Draw your chin and draw your neck back, and forward. A little more momentum here. Notice I'm doing this way into the spine. You could just do this more in the neck. Up to you. Forward. Letting the microphone fall. Last 2. Last 1. And drawing in. Okay. Niceness for the neck there. Let's come all the way, please, onto your back. Yes, you've made it. Hug your knees into your body in preparation. We'll do some spinal twists as our last poses. Now you could do a plow pose if you needed to go back up onto the neck and straighten out a little bit of that cervical spine. Any last minute poses you would like to do for yourself. Now's a good time. Otherwise, stacking your knees over to one side of your mat. Relax your arms. Okay, good. Let's stay here. Okay. Relax your jaw, let go of your forehead, let your fingers soften. Just
Notice if you're thinking it's not quite time to pick up your to-do list or to figure out what to do about the refrigerator, or someone in the family. Let all that still be in the background of your awareness. Sink off a little deeper into relaxation. So if you have both knees to your right, take your right hand on top of the top leg. So just simply rest your hand on top of your top knee and press your top knee up to the ceiling. So we're resisting here. The hand presses into the knee and the knee presses away from the hand. Holding here, 10, 9, keep pushing, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, resist, 3, 2, 1, release the resistance, taking the knees back in through center. And when you are ready, over to the other side. Immediately melting, scanning for any place that might be holding tension, or maybe you're wrapping your fingers, rat-a-tatting your fingers, or tapping your toe. Let it go. Last few moments of the class. Rest and digest time. Give yourself this time to reflect on any foolishness that you may have been exhibiting. Maybe you've been acting foolishly, aka childish, little controlling. You know those behaviors. And so this time to forgive and let go, and just reflect and love yourself through your foolishness. We're going to do that resistance on the other side. So you're going to take one hand, the same side the legs are on, you're going to place it on top of the knee and push down. And as you push down, the knee is going to resist you and try to push up. Keep those two things going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Coming into a shavasana, or maybe perhaps the legs of a chair that's nearby. And close your eyes. Perhaps you have an eye cushion, your favorite eye cushion.
And bringing some awareness into your body, waking up lovingly, free from any um, resentment or unloving yourself for all those foolish things you may have said or done in your whole life and continue to do, and vice versa, freeing others from the foolishness of just being human. Sometimes foolishness is the beginnings of great things. So, coming with your hands at your heart center and honoring all of you foolish yogis out there. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.